fall. Say you stand by your man, you tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact, and then you left me. Hello there, Tony Medley once again, and a nice warm welcome back to my workshop. Should have soon tidy workshop. It needs a good tidy up, and I'm gonna give it a good tidy up once we've made this video. Anyway, today's project is another one for, I'm not going to say beginners, it's for the people who are just starting out on their turning journey. I'm going to show you what works well for me and the finishing process that I use. It's so important because you've spent hours and hours, turning on the lathe, sanding it down, getting it right, that you put a nice finish on it. So it doesn't matter whatever I make, near enough, I use the same process, apart from when I do a bare where I just put a clear lacquer on. There's three different types of processes. There's the wax, and there's food safe Danish oil, which works well on Sapelli, what I normally do, and it is a nice finish. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely great. And then you've got the clear lacquer, which I use when I turn bears, burrs, B-U-R-R-S. Sorry about my accent, but all I'm going to do is show you what works well for me, how I wax a piece of today's project. It's going to be a bowl. So I'll go right the way through the process, and then hopefully it will work for you. Right, the first process that I do is obviously clean it off. It looks nice and clean, it's just been sanded up. I did say earlier on, I've sanded 120, 180 and 240. There's no need to go past that, because the Yorkshire grit that I use later on will show you that that's what it starts at, to be quite honest. It starts at 320. So anyway, I clean with methylated spirits, and it's surprising. All it does, it just cleans all the dust off it. You don't want to be putting a sanding sealer on top of dirt, because all it does, you can, there's not much dirt there, but there's enough. So if you give it a good wash, get in all the crevices, and that's all you're doing. You're just cleaning it up, to be perfectly honest, ready for the sanding sealer. As you can see, there's lots of dirt on it. So we'll just give it a good clean inside. Now, all that dirt would have been under your sanding sealer. Next, I've got some pre-thinned sanding sealer. To be perfectly honest, I get it from the club what I'm in. It's about half price, and I also buy the thinners from them. And I just mix it 50-50. I just find it so, if you thin it down 50-50, and everybody, it's a debate, which people say it should be only 10% diluted. Some say it's 80%. I prefer to do it 50-50, and it's great for soaking into the wood itself. but obviously different people have different ideas, and I think it's whatever you get told from the start. If you use 50-50, sometimes I put 2 coats on, but we'll just say it all depends how porous the wood is and it soaks it straight in. This might need 2 coats, I don't know. So, but it's coming up okay. Some people paint it on, not paint it on, but they use a paintbrush, should I say. But I just find it a messy process. Now, obviously I pour a little bit inside, very, very carefully. Just turn it nice and gentle. And just pour a bit more in. It does actually soak into the wood, so you're not going to put too much on. So I'll just try and move that camera angle around so you can see both sides, or from both angles inside as well. I'm not so sure whether you can see that or not. Right, hope that's better for you. But as I've just said there, you can't put too much on, and the reason I say that is because the wood will only accept a certain amount, and it soaks it in. So we'll put excuse me, that's just the thinners it gets on your chest. With it being 50-50, you do get quite it takes your breath away. So right, we'll let that dry for a minute or two, just let it soak in, and then we're ready for the Yorkshire grit. Once you've applied the sand and sealer, what I find it best to do is just take it off with a one of these green scourers, and all it does, it just takes the little, it denibs it. That's all, you know, that's all. We're just going to get it back to the sanded state, and just give it a quick wipe with a bit of kitchen roll. And never ever use rags, because there is the danger of it getting caught, and we don't want any accidents. So I'll have to buy some more Yorkshire grit, and what we do, we just turn it off, and you're going to put a coating of it. You don't have to put lots and lots of it on, but a nice coating of it all the way over the wood itself. Yeah, as I say, you don't want to plaster it on. All you want is just enough so that you put a coating all over the wood. Now, the Yorkshire grit itself is made up of pumice stones, surgical oils. There's all sorts in it, and obviously it's like a friction polish. What it does, it breaks it down, and I'll explain later on when I show you. I'll demonstrate how it works. And all it does, it breaks down all the different grits it's got in it, and sorry, I'll just turn that compressor off. So as you are turning it on the lathe, you're breaking all the stones and the oils, and it all goes into the wood, and it puts a lovely coat on it. What it also does, it sands it down, as you know, as if you're using sand, and I think it goes to about 8,000 grit. I'm not sure on that, but it goes. You get a very, very nice smooth finish when it's physically done. Right, once you've got it coated, and there's a nice even coat right the way throughout, it needs buffing up now. So we'll just get a piece of tissue, we've got a couple of pieces of kitchen roll, and all we're going to do is have it about 500 revolutions per minute to start with, and all you're going to do is just massage it into the wood, and you can see that it's starting to go into the cloth, but it's also going in. So what you do is just keep massaging it in, and it's obviously recoating it as well. So continue on, inside and out the bowl, massaging it right the way into it. Right, another clean piece of on the tissue, and do exactly the same. And obviously, as the friction from it moving, it starts to break the stones or all the ingredients what it's got in it down. As you can see, it's still coming off. What it's physically doing now, as it's getting warm, it's starting to break down, but it's sanding the wood, and you'll be amazed at how smooth it ends up. Just turn it onto another clean piece. Each time you can see there's not the same amount coming off. So right, another cleaner piece, and putting a bit more pressure onto it, and there'll be a little less coming off at this time. Turn it to another clean piece. You can see the oils what are in it. Keep moving and working it into the wood itself. What I must say is, if you're using Yorkshire grit, you must use some type of sealer, because it has got oil in the Yorkshire grit, and that will just soak straight in. So you must use sealer first. It's getting a bit better. So another clean piece. And what we're looking for really is the obvious sign is a lovely finish to it. But what we're looking for on the cloth is to be nice and clean, so that once the cloth is clean, the Yorkshire grit's done its job, and there you can see it's getting cleaner all the time. So it's starting to do its magic on it. And I'll be perfectly honest, although it isn't a finishing polish, it does look good enough as a finished piece once you've done the Yorkshire grit, because it's just so smooth. Right, I think one more go on a nice clean piece, and that should do it. So work it in nice, and it does get that little bit warm. And what you can do now is just turn the speed up slightly, and you can see now it's starting to work. That's the time you know it's worked, or it's done its magic, when you get a nice clean cloth from it. Let's look for another clean piece. This should be its final one now. Yes, that's it, nice and clean now. And that's the Yorkshire grit. I just wish you could feel how soft and smooth that is now. Yeah, very nice. Right, the next stage in the process, we're going to use a high gloss wax. Now, I put on about 2, possibly 3 coats. It all depends how it goes on. But the key to it for me is putting it on very, very finely, because you can put lots and lots on and all you're going to do is just take it back off. So I use as thin as I can get it, and you will see that you get a nice shine on it. So a nice thin coat all the way throughout the bowl, and you'll know whether it needs another coat. So it's normally 2 to 3 coats. I have been known to put 4 coats on. It all depends on the piece itself. Right, that's been applied. I leave it for about 2 minutes now, so I'll just turn the video off and then we'll come back in 2 minutes time. Right, I'll give that a couple of minutes, and all we're going to do now is take another clean piece of cloth and we're going to buff it up to a nice shine. As before, you can see the little bits of the wax has come off, which is understandable. And then we're going to apply another coat, hopefully just the 2 coats. I'm not going to show that on video because you've got the drift of how I do it. So just keep turning your cloth so you've got a nice clean piece. Right, we'll turn that off. Right, hopefully you can see the nice shine and lustre of the piece. I'm going to put another coat on, but there's no point. It's exactly the same as what I've just done, so I'll do it off camera. Right, it's had 2 coats of high gloss wax and it's come to a lovely shine. What I also do is put 1 coat of microcrystalline wax on it. And there's 2 reasons why I use microcrystalline. I read a report, I think it was from the Institute of Turners, and what it was saying was that the safest or food safe the most food safe wax that there is was the microcrystalline wax, as long as it's dried. So within 24 hours it is food safe. I'm not saying the high gloss isn't food safe. I think any finish is reasonably safe once it's dried. But I always do a coat. The only downside to it, don't know whether it's a downside or not, you have to let it dry for 20 minutes before buffing it up. But that's not too much of a heartache. You can always get on with something else. Just a bit of a slight inconvenience. So if you give it a coat, leave it for 20 minutes. And the second reason that I use it, it's a lot better. You don't get fingerprints on it, to alleviate any fingerprints, because people's going to pick it up, and there's nothing worse if you've got a high gloss bowl with lots and lots of fingerprints. So we'll leave that for 20 minutes and then we'll come back to it. That's 20 minutes gone, so it should be dried. Give it a buff up. The microcrystalline wax does come up as a nice glossy shine, and as I said earlier on, all it does, it protects it from the fingerprints, and obviously it's the best food safe wax. Right, I think that should be okay. Yes, you can see a gorgeous shine on it. So all you have to do now is to polish the bottom. As I said earlier on, that it's so important to finish the bottom just as much as the top. Right, I've turned it, reversed it round, and I've put it in the bowl reversing chuck. I'm going to, I've already put, I already cleaned it up with methylated spirit, applied sand and sealer. So all I'm going to do now, then I use Yorkshire grit, and I'm just going to put a little bit of wax on the bottom, was just to show you, I keep harping on about it's so important to do the bottom as much as the top. So I'm not going to go through the full process with you, but make sure you do the bottom just as well as you do the top. I'm going to use 2 coats again of the high gloss wax, and then 1 final coat of the microcrystalline wax, and then it's ready for my logo. So just polish that off. One thing I must say, it says on here, please read the manufacturer's instructions. It's no more than 600 revolutions, so don't have it spinning too fast. We don't want no accidents. Right, I'll come back to you when I've got the microcrystalline wax on. It's just time to put the finishing touches on now. Put the logo in the bottom. And that just finishes it off nice and neat. Just move that down, as you can see. Hello there. Well, I do hope that you got something out of it. As I say, it's got a lovely shine on it. Nice finished off bottom. Nobody likes a rough bottom. So if you're enjoying what I'm doing, please give me the thumbs up. It is appreciated. Please don't forget to subscribe. If there's any ideas what you would like me to demonstrate, to show you how to do things, please leave a comment below. Anyway, I'll catch up with you on the next video. Bye for now. Bye.